Next up, we have Victory Isles from the Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark soundtracks. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here, musically. So, if you like the sound of that, make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you use, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, if we hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube before Christmas of 2025, I'll play a video game of the choice of the community live on stream, whatever you all want. Members get early access. Artists, let's collaborate. How to request songs if you're not in the live stream. I have a spiel for all these things, a couple of other things at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Disclaimers showing on your screen right now, so go ahead and pause the video if you want to read them in full. Otherwise, let's do this. Victory Isles. Let's go. Right off the bat, we start with two main elements. We have a very lovely percussion giving us our initial beat. I need to move this mouse over here. And then we have this steel drum giving us what sounds to be our initial motif. Motif being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed, the essence from which everything else comes from. And it's immediately sequenced. This could be accompaniment because it sounds like an ostinato. So let me go through the concepts, right? Mr. Thomas, yes, welcome today. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So there's yes, divert. It means that they are in the long-term queue, which as of right now, the offline queue has. I'm still scrolling if you're listening. 1,222, and it hasn't been updated in a couple of weeks. So yes, it's gonna take a while. So and we picked them at random to make it as fair as possible. So if they happen. Anyway, back to this, right? So we have, of course, the sequencing. Sequencing is a way that you can use to develop your material, in which you repeat a musical idea just from a different starting point, usually in your melody. There's two main ways that you can do this if you're doing this melodically. It can be diatonic, or it can be chromatic. So, diatonic and chromatic are two... Oh, here's my keyboard. I did not test it. Okay, yes. So diatonic means that it is within whatever scale you are using. Chromatic means absolute values, right? So let's take, for example, we're going to use the same motif that is being used right now. So we have this motif over here, which would be on the key of, you know what, let's just do it A minor instead. We're going to use this motif. So here is the key of A minor. And natural minor. So that means these notes, all the white keys on the keyboard starting from A, are our scale. And whatever shapes, whatever musical notes we use, as long as we stay within these, is going to be diatonic. However, motifs, usually the distances between the notes is going to change. So if we're going to repeat the same melodic idea somewhere else, if we do it diatonically, they're not going to cover the exact same distance, but it is going to be the same shape. So in this case, if we were to sequence this the way that is being sequenced right now, sequencing would mean we have the original motif, then we sequence it by repeating the same shape from a different starting point, in this case, in the same point that we ended. And we have that. That would be diatonic, because we are staying within the scale that we are. However, if we were to do this chromatically, which would mean the absolute values, and I think the term is chromatic. I probably need to bring out my book again to fully remember. It would mean that we are trying to have the exact same distance covered just from a different starting point. So if we were to do this way, we would have this instead of what we had before, which would make this a chromatic change. Good evening. Time is in. All right, go ahead and welcome today. I can't read those because I can't read I can't read Asian, so I can't read any of the Asian languages. So there you go. So we're having that immediately, and I believe the sequence is also being put through what is called an ostinato. Ostinato just means that you're repeating something over and over and over and over and over and over again. Let's see where this goes. Oh yeah, another thing about the motif is that it's being done via repeated notes. So the melodic shape, it's still the same, but we are just repeating notes in between. That's it. That's the only difference. We're just repeating the notes instead of just letting them play one by one. Leggimi questo messaggio. Che? Che chiedi? Oh, I forgot to do the hand gesture. There you go. Let's continue. Okay, and right before there, we also had some violins giving us a harmonization of the melody that is being done over here. So harmonization, which is a slightly more unofficial term, is when it comes to counterpoint, is what we would call parallel motion. So in counterpoint being the study of melodies, being how they develop, how they interact with one another, usually in the context of having two or more, we will usually measure things in motion. There are three types of motion. There's parallel, there's similar, and there's contrary. Now, contrary motion is pretty simple. That just means we have two melodies independent from one another, two melodies happening at the same time. One goes one way, the other one goes the other way. Very, very simple. Similar motion is where things get a little bit more complicated in counterpoint, because that means you're having mostly the same direction of things, but there's not exactly a one-to-one thing. The example I always give is the invention in D minor, right? That kind of thing, right? And then parallel motion just means that there's two melodies happening at the same time, and there's two melodies from different starting points, and they're both doing the same thing. And again, it can come back to whether it's diatonic or chromatic. And in this case, let's say we have this, and then this, right? And if we play them both together, very, very simple. And Bach mentioned, yeah, that the invention in D minor is by Bach, by J.S. Bach. And it's the only invention that I ever bothered to really memorize. Like I know the right hand all the way through. I just haven't memorized the left hand. Like I could play the right hand of that invention all the way through, but that's not what this is about. So let's continue. We have a change here. Let me go back a couple of seconds. All right, we get a percussion. And we get a break. Okay, so we bring a complete shift in tone and timbre. We slow down the strings. They're now playing a single chord. We change the lead from that steel pan to a flute. And we have now a drum kit giving us a beat. We change the motif a little bit. Let me hear a bit more. Oh, that was a break then. Okay, so now we bring in what sounds to be an inverted or maybe a retrograde version of the motif, a partial retrograde version of the motif, which is still being sequenced. Retrograde, by the way, retrograde just means that it's being played backwards, right? So let's say we bring back this one. Here's the one going normal. Here it is retrograde. Simple as, right? And we're having, what the hell is this instrument? I think this is a steel drum. I think it's a steel drum. This very, very lovely, very Caribbean sounding drums. These are usually played with mallets. You will very often see them in the tropics. Being played by people who are smiling way too much. often being used by resorts and hotels because they have that perfect Caribbean vibe to them. It's a really, really cool instrument, and we're having one done right here. And of course, after that, we engage in a call and response. Call and response being, of course, a musical conversation. Hence, right, Victory Isles. Oh yes, this is from Solar and Lunar. Is this like a sequel to Sun and Moon, or is this? Because Sun and Moon is the last Pokemon game I bought. I mean, I had Shield, but I never really started it. Sun and Moon was the last one that I actually bothered with. Completely separate fan game. Okay, there you go. So this is a fan game. Good to know. Good to know that this is separate. So I guess it might be related to Sun and Moon, or just completely separate. When is this from? From 6 years ago. So it's potentially related to the Alola region, I think it is. Anyway. Not really? Okay, so it's completely separate. Good, good. That makes it legally distinct. Hot take. The best Pokemon game, in my opinion, was Pokemon Uranium. I loved the story in Pokemon Uranium. It was so good, because it's like a very dark possible horror story to what Pokemon was. So, yes. Anyway. We're having this, and we have a call and response, and you can hear it very clearly. Call and response is a musical conversation. We are having the motif played by the steel drum, and then we get a response from another instrument, which I think was either the violins or the flute. Let me hear a bit more. Oh, no, that was either two saxophones, or a saxophone and a sample of a car horn. Oh boy. 40% people care about your yap. A comment said that. Good. Look, if you're coming here to my channel and you want me to just play the song uninterrupted, then just go to the original video, dude. That's not what I'm here for. Welcome to today, Mystic Guy. How you doing? That's not what we're here for. We are not here to... I'm not here to just listen to the song. If I were to do that, I wouldn't be streaming it because I respect people's copyright. So yeah, that's why. Anyway, and no, Camdy, no, because I don't play Geometry Dash. Anyway, let's see where this goes. So now we have this, you heard it, right? Call from the steel drum, response from the saxophone, doing that parallel motion. Let's see where it goes. We bring back the slowing down. Okay, so now we bring a elongated version of a altered version of the retrograde. So, the elongation, right? Elongation is when you slow down something. You can hear it there. The horns doing that kind of stuff, just going downwards. We're doing we're extending the distance in part of the motif, right? So the original motif, then we have the retrograde, and now we are exaggerating the distance between the last two notes in the retrograde. Something like that, right? Something like that. And we are on top of that, elongating it. We're making it slower. That kind of thing. Could I regress for the whole 2 days? People probably expect you to listen to the entire song before the LFA. Some do, and that's not the kind of... I know that we're using the reaction format for this, because it's the most convenient one for me. But no, I'm not gonna just go through the whole thing and then do it again. That's not... I don't have that kind of time. I don't want to give it that kind of time, because we could make that kind of time. I don't want to give it that kind of time. And it's that simple. It's that simple. And at the end of the day, I am not here to give you a full a full thing, because I don't have the time to do a detailed breakdown. I am here to explain in simple terms what I am hearing, when I am hearing them, and analyzing things at the time. So let's see. So yeah, with that, let's see where it goes. And again, call and response. Back we go to the original. We bring in the drums, we speed them up. We change. So now we bring what sounds to be an organ. We have a pedal tone at the top holding a note, and now we're doing other variations of the motif. Imagine watching an entire episode of a TV show and then going through it again for an analysis. There's people who do that. But the thing is, if I were to do something like that, I would want to make it a deep dive. And if I make a deep dive, that is not going to be layman-friendly. Because if I do a deep dive, I'm going to be checking which key signatures we're in, the relationships, what melodies we're doing, that kind of stuff. And that's just not the show that we do. It is that simple. If you want to go listen to somebody who's going to do a deep dive, I'm pretty sure there's people out there who have done deep dives on a lot of these songs. I don't do those deep dives, for one, because I don't want to give myself that time right now, and for two, because that would not be layman-friendly. And the LFA, the first letter, layman-friendly. So yeah. Yeah, and people often just don't know what they're talking about on top of that. Like, I also get the comments of, yeah, you should listen to the whole thing first and then analyze, not realizing that if we were to do that, that would be clear breach of copyright, which I am simply not going to do. I don't care if the original artist allows it, for example, as in case of like MiHoYo or Genshin Impact, where MiHoYo encourages people to do these kinds of things, and oh yeah, you can listen to the whole thing on your stream and then do the whole thing. On principle, I have my format, and I don't want to break away from my format because this is a format that works for me. So yeah, tangent aside, I figured it would be a good thing. Would be a funny type of deep analysis queue with like a $15 starting bid. It's not a matter of money. It's not a matter of money. It's a matter of time. Because right now, as of the recording of this video, I just came out of my full-time job. Like, I work 9 to 5 at a full-time job because, you know, I live alone and I have to pay my bills. I take a quick break, then I get ready for stream, then we stream for 5 hours, Monday through Friday. Then weekends, Saturday, I have to schedule things. I have to schedule the videos, and then I rest. Skywalker, welcome today. How you doing? We're just addressing some comments that have popped up. Like, I've seen some of them. So it's not that I don't want to. It's that I am doing this as sustainably as I can. And I'm not doing this full time. And once we do full time, I might be able to do some of these things. I don't know yet. But at this time, yeah, I'm pulling 14-hour days, so I have to do this as sustainably as I can. So, yeah. With that, let's go ahead and continue, because now we have this version. New version of the motif. So yes, now we have entered what sounds to be a contrasting section. Usually when you have music, you have something, especially in instrumental music, you have something called form. Form is going to be the structure of your music. What do you think about the new Pokemon? What about the new Pokemon? I don't play Pokemon. Like, I was bribed into doing this. We analyze music here. And yeah, the latest Pokemon game I played was Pal World. If that gets you any context, right? So, form is going to be the structure, and usually for instrumental music, that is going to be done via letters. So, for example, we just had this whole section of the steel drum, that kind of thing. We are going to call section A. Section A is going to be the opening part all the way through the start of this part over here, which is going to be section B. This is how usually you will be able to analyze or identify the structure of instrumental music. Because in vocal music and songs is the name for, vocal music, not instrumentals, where you have introduction, verse, chorus, bridge, solos, that kind of stuff. Whereas in instrumental music, you have to analyze it to a little bit more depth. In this case, we're seeing the motifs, the variations of the motifs. And now we have gone through a complete contrast, which is what section B is supposed to be. You need to have some sort of fundamental contrast while still maintaining some sort of connective tissue between A and B. So the motif, we're still doing variations on the original motif, just now in this section. What do I think about Radiohead and Fleetwood Mac? They've been your favorite bands. I've heard some Fleetwood Mac. They're all right. Radiohead is fun. There you go. Anyway, let's continue. Let's go. So yes. So now we are bringing, as you can hear, we have a completely contrasting section right now. And I think this is the second time we have it, because I think we had something like that at the beginning as well. We're having the violins now taking this melody, giving us variations of the motif, and making C sections for these songs. No, section C would usually be something that you would see in something like a rondo. It's not advisable to go section A, section B, and then section C. It is not advisable for you to do that in musical structure, because then you start losing the identity of the track, of the piece. And yeah, that's not a very good idea. So yeah, now we're having some French horns bringing some very nice warm chords. We're having the violins giving us this very beautiful variation of the motif. And in this case, this version of the motif is just taking what used to be, and we're just augmenting the space between these two notes, the last two notes, right? That kind of stuff. And I think we modulated to a major key. Let me check a bit more. No, it's still minor key. So yes, and by the way, I just mentioned a new term, augmentation. Augmentation is what happens when you increase the distance between notes. That is usually the case. For example, here we have the chord of C major. If I were to take this note here, G, and I were to increase the space between the E and G, we would get an augmented chord. So usually augmentation means that you are augmenting the distance. Usually it is used under the context of augmented chords, augmented scales, that kind of thing. And then the opposite would be diminishment, where you make a diminished thing, right? So let's say here we have C minor, and if we were to take G and diminish the note, we would get C diminished. And we get this kind of thing. So we have augmentation when you increase the intervals, interval being the distance between two notes, and then diminishment when you decrease the distance between those. There are many different overlapping concepts in music, so augmentation, diminishment, they will have different meanings in harmony, in melody, and even rhythm. So highly contextual. Still, with that, we are using some augmentation to bring up the distance between the notes, to bring the original, the motifs that we're listening to over here. Because it's Kabagano song, LFA and entire SI to white people. White deep analysis are not a thing here yet. Yeah, and that's Real M6 who is right here, who bribed me into this. I am not apologizing. This was something that was going to be said at some point in the recorded videos. And we sometimes go on tangents, so it happens. Let's see where this goes. There we go. So now we have a doubling between the flutes and the violins over here. Doubling, of course, meaning when you have more than one instrument playing the same melody. I think it's the same melody. I might be harmonized there. But we're still doing these parallel melodies going on over here in our section B. And, Juicy. Welcome today. How you doing? Let's see where this goes. Do it, break up there. And we bring it back to section A. Chances are this is gonna fully loop. Okay, no. This makes it A prime. So yes, now we bring the... This is the second half of A. So, A prime, you see this apostrophe I put over here. Prime means it's a variation. We're still doing essentially the same thing as before, but there's that. You got a sponsorship off stream. What? I am going to continue now. Second half of A. So we're bringing the second half of A. This was the second half of the original A, so we're doing that first this time around. I swear that's a car horn. The call and response part. With the retrograde augmentation. And now we bring the first half of A. So yes, A prime is just doing A backwards, because these have split in half. And this is section B. Yeah. This is the start of section B. Yep. A prime and B. How are you gonna end this? So yeah, B seems to be 1-to-1 repetition. How are you gonna end this? My guess is gonna fade out because they're following the formula, but let's see. It ends! Oh my god, it ended. Okay, so we have it lead up and it ends with a half cadence. So yes, we have here the formula for this. We have now the structure of this piece altogether. We have it is designed to loop, but this is why I do not accept fade outs, because this ended in a way that B section can loop straight back into A. It is designed so that it can loop straight back. So as I said, it ends with a half cadence. When you're making music, of course, you're doing one of two things. You're building tension, you're resolving that tension. Point in between, we call it cadence. Now, what we just had is called a half cadence. Half cadence is where you build up for that resolution and you deliberately do not resolve it. So basically, you are building the tension and you are leaving the resolution for the next section or the next song altogether. So if I were to do this, usually this is done in the harmony, so in your chord progression. If I were to do a simple C major chord progression, right? This is the cadence, and if we were to do a regular cadence, we would go back here. However, a half cadence and it stays there to be resolved in the next section, and I'm going to resolve it now, so that we actually don't stay with the, where's the resolution? Now, half cadences are very useful in video game music, for example. It is set so that you can loop it, so that it cuts off when you loop, and that's it. And that's it, right? Like, it cuts off, and as soon, like, let's try to see if I can... There you go, right? Like, it actually can loop immediately after that, and you can set it like that in the video game. For example, I have used half cadences as well. Time for some self-promotion. Number one, I have two songs from this. Warning, these songs are symphonic death metal. Symphonic melodic death metal, so it's very intense music. Song number one that has this is Second Conquest by myself. This song ends with a half cadence, which means the tension is built up and it is not resolved. However, if you immediately after listen to my song As We March, also by me, the cadence then resolves in As We March. This is very useful, so half cadence is very useful to create motion and momentum into the next section, next song, next part completely. And we are using that in this over here. Congratulations to the Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark team. So, yeah, you remember these titles before you say them? That is what we call conditioning. So yeah, there we go. There we go. Listen in chronological order? Yes. Yes, chronological order. So that's this is a like half cadences are a very, very common technique for concept albums. A concept album is an album of music that is written as one single idea. So the whole thing is composed as a single overarching composition rather than being just a random collection of songs. Some of my favorite concept albums, my favorite one, of course, right now would be Parallax 2, Future Sequence by Between the Buried and Me. The other one that also by them, The Great Misdirect, also by BT Bam. And then another one that I love a lot would be, I think it's Affinity.exe by Haken. These three, and there's a bunch of other albums out there that are written as concept albums. And the whole thing, I think it's Parallax 2 in Roman numerals, actually. These would very easily be able to pass as one single composition. Whereas if we were to take some other albums from other artists, which would probably still have really high quality music, for example, let's take one of my favorite albums right now, Weight of Oceans by In Mourning. Some of my favorite music ever written, Weight of Oceans. Just absolutely beautiful. It's not a concept album. It has like 3 songs that lead into one into another, but in general, these are a bunch of standalone songs that are just absolutely brilliant. My favorite way to make OST albums involves one, you have an in-game audio for every level, either loops, plays dynamically, or completion, or the OST album composer takes all those audios and makes a full song, using them which one can listen in one separate piece. There are many ways of doing this. So, Death of Slim Shady. So yeah, no, these, by the way, these two are experimental metal, so it has death metal and a bunch of other stuff. Affinity by Haken, this one is prog metal, and it is incredible. Like, these 3 albums I would highly recommend if you want to listen. Great Misdirect has my favorite song of all time. My favorite song of all time is called Swim to the Moon. My favorite song of all time. It's 18 minutes long. So yeah, concept albums usually would have something like that, which you can use half cadences to make happen. So yeah, which in this case, this is not what this soundtrack is doing. What the soundtrack is doing is building that half cadence so that it can loop more easily. And wouldn't it be difficult to swim to the moon? Yes, that is the idea. A lot of the titles from BT Bam make very little sense. Yeah, like my second favorite song by Between the Buried and Me is called The Silent Flight Parliament. It's absolute nonsense, and I love the song. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, so, oh shit, I accidentally. And there you have it. Let's finish this video, shall we? So there you go. That was Victory Isles from the Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark soundtrack. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician and composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happened here, musically. So, if you're watching this on the YouTube video archive thing, thank you for watching. Make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, at the time of recording, we recently passed 7,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for that. If we somehow hit 10,000 before Christmas of 2025, not very likely, but if it happens, on top of doing the fanfiction audiobook thing, I will also play a video game, a single video game of the choice of the community, whatever y'all want, live on stream. We'll make it happen. This has to happen. This has to be achieved through legitimate and honest means only. No account duping, no botting, no buying followers, no alt accounting, no rat behaviors like that. Go share the videos, the streams with your friends, with your families, with your family's friends, with your friends' families. Those are 2 very distinct concepts, by the way. With your online and offline communities, go share these videos far and wide with everybody that you know. Also use the hype function on YouTube. We have a group on the Discord that coordinates for that, so check it out, link down below. Yes, artists on YouTube, this is an open invitation. If you want any of my musical skills for one of your projects, whether it is my guitars, my Mongolian throat singing, you know, the good old kind of thing, or regular singing, voice acting, or whatever else, just reach out, let me know. Let's collaborate, let's make it happen. And yes, and if you're in the audience and you know somebody that could benefit, let them know. Please do not harass anyone. Please do not spam anyone. Be cool about things. Don't be a rat. Members get early access to the content. I schedule the videos for the week on Saturdays, and if you're a paid member on YouTube, regardless of your tier, you get access to the videos when I schedule them, at least for the LFAs. So become a member today. If you want to listen to this without me interrupting every 3.5 seconds, I will be linking it in the description down below. If you want to request a song and you're not on the live stream, check the pinned comment on this video. It has the instructions on what to do. And if you want to catch the streams when they happen live, we aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. If you are not in Europe, do not worry. We have the full up-to-date streaming schedule showing in your local time zone in both Discord and Twitch. Both are linked down below. So if you live in Timaru and you're like, yeah, but what time is 6 p.m. in Hungary? I don't live there. Do not worry, just go to the Discord or Twitch. They're both linked down below, and it's going to show the schedule in your local time zone. And follow the gaming channel. I have a gaming channel because, of course, I have a gaming channel. I'm on YouTube. What else could I possibly have? Games are Basterd. That's where I put the gaming after show recordings when they happen. Link down below. They get recorded live on stream, and then the recordings go there. Link down below, or just search on YouTube, same username as James R. Basterd. Just swap the J for a G, and you got it. And yeah, there you go. There you go. Victory Isles, Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark fan made. Really, really good stuff, man. Really good. But yeah, let's move on.